everybody, welcome to my fabulous Las Vegas home. Sorry, I've been a go-go dancer on the Las Vegas Strip for 7 years, so I may have overdeveloped my promotional skills a little bit. Sorry about that. But still, I am here to invite you into my condo to talk about Kundalini Awakening! Woo! What the hell is that, right? Awesome. I didn't know either, but it happened to me. So we're gonna learn this on the fly, right by the seat of our pants, the way I love doing life. Oh, well, first we have to meet Scrappy. This is my little glitter boy. He has joined me on all my journeys. Can you say mwah? Can you say mwah? Mwah. He has been on this ride with me for 7 years, and the last 2 years, it's been 2 years of priming, and then it's been 15 months of official Kundalini pop-off. So he's been with me on the journey the whole way, huh, little man? Okay. All right, so I'm going to be using this wall as my basis of kind of explaining everything, and actually this wall and what I created on it was part of what led to my awakening. Down here we have all my journals. Writing became a very important thing. Half of these were written throughout my life, and half of the journals here were written through the past 3 years. It's been a long journey, my friends, very long. Incredible, bigger than, crazier and bigger and more bittersweet and overwhelming than I ever imagined it could be. So, let's get right down to it as far as the wall and what happened. Right in the middle of the wall here it says, rule all the houses, lead only with spirit. By all the houses, I meant mind, body, soul, 4 corners of the wall, and soul and heart. So, what I meant by that when I created this was that the tools that we have as a human being are our mind, our bodies, and our hearts. And those are tools. And so we never want to lose sight of the fact that those are just our earth tools. But what should lead is the spirit. When I wrote this, and when I created most of the wall, I didn't know exactly yet what in the world that could mean. It's only through this journey that I've been learning more. So, 2 years ago, it's 3 years ago, I began writing a book called No Soul to Sell. It was about a lady whose emotional repression and circumstances in life caused her to have a physical mutation. So she represses her emotions for so long that one day a circumstance leads her to just bust out of her skin, her bones pop out of her flesh, her veins stick out everywhere, she seeps this slimy residue, this slimy alien residue, and she commits a very violent act. While writing that book, I went deeply, I gave my mind permission to explore deeply the elements of what I call the destroyer and the healer. There are 2 big characters in the book that I gave myself permission to feel all the emotions of, and that is the destroyer, which was originally the lady who becomes a mutant, and then there's a healer in the story. So, on the left side of the wall, I pretty much built these very, what we would call lower chakra words and energies, which is just this very primal, lusty, fierce energy. And a lot of times in our life, what that tends to represent is feelings of competition, jealousy, fear, lack, inadequacy, control over one another. And in writing the book, I explored how does a person go from these qualities to the more transcendent qualities of a heart that is conditioned to be bigger than the pain, of purpose, connection, love, peace, forgiveness, understanding. And I started asking the universe really transparently, how do we go from these qualities to this? And what journey does a person go on? And does it take this to get to here? And what I realized during this journey is something very important. Not only that we are able to transcend this, but that it is okay and perfectly, beautifully masterminded that we were this mutation, this monster, before we became this. And in order to ever really speak on behalf of what it is to become this, we had to have the qualifications of knowing why it is we have these mechanisms for repression, for addiction, for limitation, for trying to get rid of our pain. We've all been through experiences that seemed overwhelming to us at the time. But the question is, who gets to speak on behalf of these things if they haven't first been here? And that's where a Kundalini Awakening is really awesome, because it is first-hand experience. It's not conceptualized, it's not theoretical. I could not have ever imagined with my mental construct the wild journey that I've been on. So it isn't book knowledge, although the people that have gone before us in any sort of spiritual awakening, in anything in life, are essential to our growth. It kind of helps put the mind to sleep. So it puts the mind at ease for you to go ahead and have the bravery to move forward with your own unique blueprint, your own journey. Okay, so as I was developing this mutant character for the book, I noticed these feelings start to manifest in my own being. So the primal, primitive, lower chakra energy of lust and possessiveness and anger and jealousy and this ferocity, I felt it kind of rising. And so at that point, I started developing the wall. And that's why this says here, what does a sex-crazed, diabolical mutant have to do with emotional health? And I knew that it was my job to unify those forces and figure out exactly what does these feelings rising in my body have to do with the wish that I cast out into the universe before starting to write the book, which was connection and love and forgiveness and feeling very close to my human brethren, and like we're teammates and we're in this together and we're creating this beautiful masterpiece. Why, when I asked the universe for those components, did I get horniness? That's basically, essentially what it felt like. And I just thought, like, okay, somebody seriously must have, like, mixed up my order. Like, universe, what just happened here? I asked for these transcendent qualities at the age of 32. I began to develop this book, and you return it with horniness. And so I'm sitting here thinking, like, okay, we need to deliver this another way, because something must have got messed up. So anyways, I was writing the book. I felt these feelings within me, this ferocity start to rise. And what I was actually going through, I'm not going to keep you guys in suspense. I had to stay in suspense, but I'm going to tell you what it was. It was a sexual heating. It was a sexual priming for the body to get ready to unify with the vibration of the Kundalini Awakening. When the Kundalini does awaken from the base of the spine, it is a shock to the nervous system. It moves its way up the chakras from the root to the sacral, solar plexus, heart, throat, third eye, and crown. And it begins to clear out anything that is not serving our highest good. The body, the organism itself, has got to be prepared to handle that. The nervous system has to be prepared to handle that vibration. And sexual heating is the best way to do it. Also, in life, we know that making love, having sex in almost all creation is a union. New life begins with a union. So I was attempting, it was doing that just for the science, for the physiological aspect of the organism to get ready, and also to unify these forces and to get grounded. So I think about the lower chakra system as a big, powerful engine that hasn't been started in a long time. And it starts boom, 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 and it starts really rough. And then maybe it'll spin out and sputter, and then boom, 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 it starts again. And eventually the engine gets going, everything starts running more smoothly, and it becomes more refined the higher up the chakra system it goes. So that's why we have written here raw power to refined pure potential. So when an organism gets ready to make a big change, such as a Kundalini transformation, it has to believe itself to be on the right path. It has to have trust and faith and know that it belongs on this planet, and it needs to get ready to make big, bold moves for itself, because it's usually exactly what it says, a huge change, a huge transformation. That changes everything from our relationships, our jobs, with our partners, with our parents, our talents, our skills. It changes so many things about us, and finally, it changes our actual physical body in ways that you would not believe that I'm going to start to talk about. So I did start to catch on that there was a unification here, and that my job was to figure out, why do these intersect? And the character in the book, I noticed, the healer in the book, was very good at being okay with other people's mutations. So he always seemed to have this air about him that was like, it's okay, it's gonna be fine. And of course the mutated character is going, how can this be fine? I'm turning into a monster! And he somehow knew. Well, how would he know? Experience. He's been there. So through the sexual priming for me, the sexual healing of the body, took 2 years. That's what was going on. It was confusing and uprooting for my life, because you're not quite sure why it's happening. But as these things are going on, you're also developing a trust and a faith, and you're feeling the Kundalini already start to rise, and the vibrational level of the body is changing, and you can feel, you know, in the churches, you see certain movements that the people are always doing when they start to worship and praise, because their vibration is actually rising to meet something higher than themselves. They're losing part of that ego, of just, they're coming out of that. And so that'll be the next point of this conversation. We'll take a little break. Okay, we're back to talk some more about Kundalini Awakening. My little boy is wondering why I am talking so long without acknowledging his presence, because he's used to me including him in everything. The only bad thing you can do to him is not include him. That's why he's the same color as I am. Anyways, so while I was developing these characters for the book, I was walking Scrappy a lot. I was dancing. I'm a go-go dancer in the casinos on the Strip. And I was writing, journaling, and writing the characters for the book. And it started to occur to me that just as I was molding these characters for the book, there was a force molding me that was putting pressure and experiences on me in certain areas of my life, certain experiences, to get a certain molding out of this human creation. And I started to realize, if you just submit to those experiences and that pressure, will you become the molding of that great clay potter? And what happened while I was reaching those, what I was doing was actually reaching a meditative state. During the walking, the dancing, and the writing, and the journaling, I was basically in a meditative state, a big portion of my life. And when we reach that state of quiet mind, where we surrender the control of the mental construct and we throw our trust upon a force that is greater than us, that is massive and overwhelming beyond what we can even imagine with our minds, the ego mechanism starts to unravel. And that can be a terrifying, wild, crazy, awesome, spectacular ride of your freaking life. So as I started to realize and submit to the fact that I was a creation myself, and that whoever's running this show, whatever it is, must be a genius, must be a mastermind, because Even this organism that we are walking around in, we do not know how to keep our own heart beating, our own digestive system going. We are not the controllers, something else is. So as I started to throw more trust and faith upon this force, the ego mechanism started to go quiet. And actually, it usually doesn't go easily because the mind wants to continue existing. That's the tool of the mind. Survival is its biggest concern. And that's why the mind is not capable of going past survival. It doesn't get to thrive. It usually only gets to survive. Its main concern is its own existence. And that's the way it was structured. But there is something bigger than that. So, what happened in these states is the energy continued to rise. And while I was journaling, I started writing things faster than the mind was going, and I started writing things I didn't understand, just as I started making a wall and writing a book that I didn't fully understand. So the words transformation, the words mutation, and the words half-breed kept coming up in my journaling. Half-breed meaning part human, part divinity. And so I remember just the mind was going, wow, you're taking this character for the book like really seriously. You're not a freaking star who can just immerse your whole life and like be all out there in the clouds in the universe and not come back down to earth and hello, join us here on earth. So I thought it was really weird, all the things that were happening to me. Okay, so in addition to those words that were coming out repeatedly in my journaling, the mind kept going, okay, yeah, everybody transforms. I guess you're going through this big thing, whatever, you know. You're getting older, you're trying to decide what to do with your life. Okay, transformation, mutation, woohoo, yeah. And I kept thinking, there's no such thing as human transformation. So why are you writing this repeatedly and going in more depth and more insights about this transformation? Well, eventually the journaling and different aspects of my life started to say, destroy. And the interesting part is that I was captivated by it. I was scared of it, yes, but I was also very excited. And what I eventually realized is that I was destroying the ego mechanism. When you throw your faith and your trust and your surrender upon something else, who you think you are, the Angela that I am in this life that keeps me together, where I'm from, my relationships, my job, my talents, those things start to unravel as you reach this quiet state of mind. So I got really intense journaling one day that was getting more in detail about destruction. Within a week, my phone that I had had for years dropped off of a sink, gone. Everything gone, pictures, text messages, the whole thing. The screen never even showed up. It wasn't broken, it was just gone. A week later, I made a prayer at the movie theater, and I said, the force that be, God, I surrender to any and everything that leads me to become the creation of my highest good. And within 15 minutes, I was in a car accident, and I totaled my car as we were leaving the movie theater. So I was with my partner in the car, and when I realized that everything was okay, I just started crying, just bawling, and I said, I'm so scared, I'm so scared, I'm so scared. He said, it's okay, everything's fine, you don't need to be scared. I said, no, I'm so scared to become the next level of leadership or love or connection or whatever. And I still didn't know what I was so scared of. And I said, I'm so scared, I'm so scared. And of course, the mind said, you can't even drive a car right. It was my fault. So why do you think you can become the next being of your highest good if you can't even prevent from getting in a car accident? I went home, I injured my ankle, I was off work for a month, and I began writing in my journal, and it said, you are not regressing, you are releasing. So when I thought, oh my God, all this journaling that I've done to build myself up and say it's okay, it's safe to go on this crazy journey of life and trust that life has your back and you're qualified to work with divinity in a relationship side by side. And then I said, I'm so scared, I'm so stupid, I can't even drive a car. In my journaling it said, you are not regressing, you are releasing, you're not going backwards. Eventually, at some point when I reached a quiet state of mind, I was going up in a Kriya state, actually, which I will describe. I was saying, pain come up, pain come out, pain come up, pain come out. And I was saying it like a child. Pain come up, pain go out, pain come up, pain go out. Meaning that in order for us to release our pain, we have to let it go. We have to feel it. We have to allow it. And then it's okay for us to become the observer, the spectator, the watcher. Something is watching as this organism is going through what it is. So that means something else is leading us. Now, we know in life that there's a progression from a toddler to an adolescent to an adult. Most of us have not acknowledged that there is a stage of development in human development after adulthood. When the brain becomes fully myelated at approximately the age of 27, there is an opportunity for us to have a Kundalini transformation. It's an energetic awakening, I call it. Some people call it a spiritual awakening. I am not as likely to call it spiritual because then people attribute it to religion, and then they get very attached to which force it is driving. Okay. I believe that the force driving us transcends language. We came here, we made language, we made the rules of it, but what's really running the show clearly is so big and powerful and it has such strong intent that it is beyond what we can describe, and that's okay. Violence, wars, possession, anger has resulted from people becoming so attached to their spirituality that they actually kill one another over their beliefs. So I have no interest whatsoever in attaching to what it is, but I trust it more than anything. I'm going to go on a little tangent here. Speaking of, I'm going to bring Scrappy into this actually. So when I first adopted Scrappy from the shelter 7 years ago, I remember taking him home and seeing, he was a very smart animal, and I saw how much he trusted me. And I thought, my goodness, what does this trust afford this little dog? And what it did was afford him freedom and expansion. So he came with me because he was such a good boy. You're a good boy, aren't you? Yes. Because he was such a good boy, he came with me in stores. I got a little front pack that I carry him on. We went Mount Zion, Angel's Landing. He goes rollerblading with me. He goes biking. He does all kinds of stuff. He meets a lot of people. And what I realized is that his trust afforded him expansion and a bigger life. He doesn't have a mind that's more powerful than us. His mind tool is quite small. But he trusts his life to me, and it allowed him to have a bigger, bolder, freer life, totally surrendered. And I thought, if I throw my life upon the thing, the force that created me, what will it afford me? And what did I find out? Fun! Greater experiences! Right, baby boy? I love you. Mwah. Kiss? Mwah. Yeah. Mwah. Anyways, I'll put him down. And alright, so we're back. So I had left off approximately after I had gotten in a car accident. So my phone and my car got destroyed after me writing a lot of journaling about destruction within a week. I was off of work for a month with a fractured ankle, and during that time I felt even more that something wanted, the things that I wanted to express, my feelings, felt like it was too big to be housed in my skin. So I literally started feeling like the mutant that I was describing. And again thinking, wow, I'm really going crazy, but at the same time still throwing the ego structure off long enough to like get in sync with whatever this mesmerizing, enticing new energy field was. So I was off work for about a month on November 4th. Yes, November 4th, 2016, so a year and 5 months ago or something like that. I'm not good with dates. I was incredibly tired for about a week leading up to that. I felt this huge ache go across the lower back, like just this like this feeling just like spread across it. And I'm used to physical injury. I know what it feels like. And I thought, and my brain, something, not my brain, but something said, this is not physical, it's spiritual. And I go, what kind of spiritual process spreads across your lower back like that? So then I was incredibly tired for an entire week, so ungodly tired. And on Friday, November 4th, I got up out of bed. Something said, go to your yoga mat, that purple yoga mat. It's very old now. I get attached to only my things that I am sentimental about. So I went to my yoga mat. Something said, go in down dog. I went in down dog. In my head, started going like this. Very fast. I'm not going to do the whole thing. From then, I stood up, I started moving around, I started spinning, I started walking around, forward circles, backward circles, this kind of movement, which I never knew how to do, whatever this is, before I had Chris. So that went on for 2 hours. I was not scared at any point. I had not heard of Kundalini. I did not know what Kundalini was. But a couple months prior to this experience, I was reading something on the dark night of the soul. And in it, it had mentioned a Kundalini Kriya. And it seemed to be about yoga and meditation. All I was concerned about was the dark night of the soul, because I was also having feelings of despair and hopelessness that was beyond my circumstances in life. I just felt so hopeless. And I'll talk more about the dark night of the soul in another video. But I've definitely gone through several of them and several what's called die-offs as well.